Hey guys, this is Buck. Had helped a handful of people how to adjust the low range in the Honda Pioneer. So basically, you need to put it in two-wheel drive. That's per the manual. Not sure why that would have anything to do with the adjustment for low range, but that's the mode. And then you got to put it in neutral. Now, of course, make sure you got the some type of braking mechanism locked in or chocks on the wheel because you're in neutral, of course. Now to get to the adjustment, simply pull the battery. There's this little cover right here that's just going to pop out. Now if you notice here, that's your adjustment with those two nuts and then that clamp there. I'll show you some of the manual stuff here. But yeah, basically just pull the battery. And then here goes your adjustment. So the top one, that is one, which is your upper adjusting nut. Then the second nut that's here, that's what creates your pressure there. So basically you're going to loosen the top nut, loosen the bottom nut, and then you're going to pull your adjustment for the top nut down. It takes a 19mm wrench for either one of them. I have a handful. If you have one that has a little bit bigger head, it's harder to get in the top section. So these are two cheap wrenches. One does a better job. The Craftsman I had was a little bit thicker head to it, so it was hard to get in there to actually kind of make the turns for the adjustment. So what you're doing is you're going to adjust the top one. You're going to go back in here and you're going to check your tension. The more important tension is your downward travels, is what I've seemed to notice here. But that's the tension that's actually going to put it down in low. You're going to leave it neutral for this whole checking process. And once you've got it adjusted to where you don't have that extra free play that it's showing, then you're going to tighten your second nut up to here. Now with mine, it seemed like I had it adjusted multiple times at the dealership, very short intervals. I was already having trouble getting it to go in low. Don't know if it was from the Honda like this or if the dealership, when they tighten it back down, and it could be just, it is a little bit aggravating to get the wrenches in there given. But if you notice how far back that's sitting into the bracket. So last time I got mine back, mine was almost flush with here to here. I had never adjusted it. I'd let the dealership do it each time. So I don't know how it came from the factory per se. But I was playing around, well, with it sitting all the way forward, it's like the bracket had more room to flex. So I could sit here and watch the bracket flex just a little bit in this process if you pull the neutral back and forth. By making sure it's seated in the farthest back position that it can go and then tighten the nut, that seemed to take that play out. And this last round before this adjustment is the farthest or the most distance I have done mileage wise without having to adjust the low range. Now I'd like to throw out a mileage number as far as mine, but it would really vary how often you're engaging low range to high. You might do 500 miles, and if you've left it in high nonstop for 500 miles, your cable hasn't stretched or moved much, versus you might use it on the farm towing a trailer. Every quarter mile you're putting in low range, towing the hay out to the field and putting it back in high or whatever, and you're going to adjust the cable quite a bit more than the guy who just put it in low and ran it for 500 miles nonstop. So it's really an engagement thing, not necessarily a mile or hour thing, how often you're engaging low to high, or just stop and go and put it back in park to low, that sort of thing. The more you use the cable, the more it's going to adjust. The thing that I'm actually interested in is, this is an 18 model, so maybe they've corrected it, but if you happen to have a new Pioneer and yours was to the front of the bracket from the factory, throw in a comment. I'm kind of curious if that's the case, or maybe certain shift worker does it a little different, or if it's back seated in that position. I'm kind of curious myself, but hope this helps somebody. If anybody got any questions or anything, feel free to reach out.